How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Factorio. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far. If you guys have, you guys might be smash that like button if you haven't done so already. And with that, let's get into the episode. So, one of the things I'm working on right now is setting up a bootstrapped operation here so that way we can get all of the products for Gleba being made. I have no idea who made this original design. I just remember grabbing it off of Reddit. If it is yours, definitely feel free to say that down below. Yeah, I'm really great at giving credit for these things. I just find them. But it is not mine. I don't take credit for making it. Anyway, so let's grab ourselves a RoboPort. Actually, we don't have any more. Uh-oh. Okay, well that's not great. So we need a few things made in order to get this thing going. So we have been trying to get these made, which require these to be made, but that requires iron pipe. Iron pipe requires iron. Fun catch-22. So we need more of these guys being made. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is we are going to try to force feed that thing, but in order for that to happen, we just need more iron. It is a good thing we have a ship in orbit that does not necessarily have any iron plate on it, but it has the ability to get iron plate down here. This thing, I don't know why we have it set up like that. Oh, because it's enable disable for that. Okay, let's not do that. Ha. Okay. Then this guy is gonna go back to Volcanus because I know there's a ton there. Oh yeah, I can restock some of that. This main thing is let's grab 10,000 iron plate. Let's grab 10,000 copper plate. Anything else while we're shopping that we might need? I think circuits, but I'm not gonna be too concerned with circuits. Okay, let's do that, and then yeah, so that's gonna do its thing. And then while we're down here, how this works is essentially it inputs the spoilage onto this belt, right? But it also takes off items, so it is a sushi belt, so just be forewarned with that. However, it is a kind of a nice little sushi belt. You know what? I don't think I need that there. Let's place that. Okay. Because how effectively works is it takes into account each item, right? So it's scanning the belt here. And so it's checking to see if it needs to pulse or like what it needs to do, but it's also filtering off certain things, more particularly items such as the eggs. It doesn't let more than so many eggs exist at one time. And part of that is so that way you don't end up with, well, a ton of biters because the eggs do hatch, and so it is very problematic in that regard. So if we go hunting, oh, I don't have ammo. Booey. Oh, you know what? This thing had ammo. I could have just grabbed ammo from it. Okay, well, it's almost there. What can we do with what little no resources we have? I suppose we could just go harvest more iron. That's always an option. Great part is there's tons of iron bacteria that we can just go harvest, like so. Grab it all. Mine Hoover. Okay, cool. So that gives us quite a lot, and it's going to start decaying pretty rapidly into the iron ore. And I guess we'll wait temporarily for the stuff to happen. I guess we can talk about the next couple weeks or next couple episodes. So this episode is 34 35, I think, or 34. I'm not sure. That's one of those two. And then the next 2 episodes after this are pretty much going to occur right after this one, so there's not going to be a whole lot of in-between progress. However, after all 3 of these episodes, this one and 2 more, there's probably going to be a pretty significant jump. We might be on Aquilo by then. We'll see. I say that because I have some trips planned, so I will not be able to play normally how I normally would. I'm still going to be able to, make some progress here and there, but I'm not going to be able to make the same amount of, play, progress. It's going to just mainly be a lot of progress and then recording kind of going on. So, with that in mind, Satisfactory, anybody watching that as well, that's going to kind of take a back seat, because I'm not going to be able to put with... Oh, there's my... Kind of forgot about that one. Guess you guys are gonna probably have heard that alarm. Maybe. That's just for me to keep track of time and things, so I know when to start recording. And my timer was initially set at a certain time, and I was able to actually start a couple minutes early. So we're ahead of the game today, slightly. Alright, so we do have that unlocked, and we do have ammo. Let's wait, I think I don't have any more. I don't think I'm gonna have enough with what I have planned. We'll see though, we'll see. Yeah, 50 should be fine. I could make better ammo. Does ammo have rarity? It does. That might be something to look at. We are looking for some red on the map. This is a little bit more than I'm willing to take on. There's one up there to the north. Okay, let's go check that out, because I want to show you how this works. I really like Gleba. I know a lot of people dislike it, but I like the looks of Gleba. And I don't think too many people would complain with that. What I don't like is the awful, just having to micromanage all the little bits. Where... There it is. So these little things, little A graph, it just exists. It will eventually spawn, I believe. Little thing. If we break it, these little creatures spawn. And we get some eggs, some pentapod eggs. Now notice, these pentapods, it will spawn 1 pentapod per egg in 15 minutes. And remember, after our last discussion, the entire stack decays at the same time, which means 2 of them will spawn in 15 minutes. Now if you have a full stack, then a full stack will spawn at once. So that is something that we need to watch out for. There's a ton of that, so let's go to that in. And then same thing here. That is one thing. This is a case on this planet where you kind of want to trash unrequested items frequently. That is because you're oftentimes going to have things in the outbound that are going to spoil. And notice, these only at half freshness. Part of that is due to how things work on this planet. Now, we do have quite a lot of seeds now, which is really nice, because we, I think, are probably going to get into farming either this or next episode. I think next episode. I think this episode... Actually, you know what? No. We are going to get farming. Let's do that now while I'm thinking about it. So let's go ahead and grab these guys. Now, on this planet, we can build little arrays stuff and things up here. So notice how there's all that yellow under this. So I can place this, but it's not going to be able to farm. That's because we don't have anything there. Now these green tiles, that tells us, hey, we can farm here. Now notice all of this kind of light yellow region. That's region we can build on with the stuff we have access to right now. And then I believe this stuff is the biome. So we will eventually be able to build on this darker stuff. So you kind of have these islands of initial startage, but then you can essentially build on this whole biome. Same thing with the pink. The pink works in the exact same way. Is we're going to build some stuff over here on this kind of more pinkish, not the magenta, but the pink down here. So how it works is we're going to need one of these. We are going to need a passive provider. Just want to make sure that we are utilizing as little space, or rather, we're only messing up as few of those squares as possible, because if we place something there, that we can't grow something there, right? So we want to make sure that way we are using as little bit as possible there. So now it's going to be connected, maybe. There we go. So now what it's going to go ahead and do is it's going to clear out the area. So anything marked in red is something it's going to clear out. And the next thing is it's going to take in Yamko seeds. Now notice, I could place jelly nut, but it's not going to be able to be grown here because this is in jelly nut soil. So notice it's taking these, and if I were to remove them, it's going to take this one. And watch, if I put the jelly nut in, nothing, because it's only managing the Yamko fruit. So we're going to go ahead and fill this up with the Yamko. And notice it's going to output any wood or anything that it collects. So for now it's collecting any wood, but they're going to also collect other things. So now if we go down, let's grab... Is this guy done? Yep. Okay, so let's head this back to Guliba. So that's going to come back. Well, that's coming back. Let's go ahead and grab some inserters and some of these. Okay. And then... What happened to those eggs? They're sitting in here. Okay, so we have 11 minutes. We need to deal with them. That's just Flagora. That is one thing. I do have to tweak the notifications, but I don't know if they'll be able to be tweaked the way I want them to. I'll have to look into it. So we're going to want a requester chest and a passive provider. So on the requester chest, we notice if we click, nothing gets requested. So we're going to go ahead and request. We'll say 30, just so we always have them. They don't expire. And then that's the only thing that we need to request here. As for the passive provider, any output is going to go into this chest. So wood, the Yamka fruit, and so on. So this is going to get shipped back to our base. Now, we're going to probably use robots for that component. That is one section of this base that I'm going to use robots. Everything else up here is belt-based and more or less functions. Now, there's not enough here to function just yet, so you're going to see some things just kind of sit there, at least until we can get enough of those biochambers produced. So that is one kind of an annoyance of mine that I have. It is just going to take some time. So we need nutrients and we need pentapod eggs. So for instance, we need nutrients here. Well, that means we need jelly nut and Yamko, but that just really means we need some things we don't currently have access to. And if we look down here at the pink, we'll do the same thing. So we're going to see some green. There's not as much here. Not as much. There is more further down here. But it's the same idea. There's only that little bit of island. So we're not going to have as fruitful of a plan down here. We are going to do the same idea, I think. Okay. And then if we look at the map, the way pollution works is every time you remove one of these trees, there's a little bit of spores that get released. They do decay just like regular pollution, but instead of your machines making it, your farms are going to make it. So these are going to be your places where the biters on this planet are going to attack. Now, they don't really attack you a whole lot until your farms get up. So for instance, this area up here is probably going to be a bit of a threat to us. This area over here is probably going to be a bit of a threat to this guy, so we will want to set that up open. It looks like we didn't connect power. The other thing we need to note is, even though we have a jetpack, right, and we can like fly over all this, notice we land on it. Everything here, even the water here, you can walk on, which means the biters also can walk on it. So we need to be very cautious of that fact, and we can't just assume that, oh, well, there's water here, biters can't. Biters can't get us, right? Biters can only come here and maybe a little over here and here, right? Nope, they can walk all the way over. The only time that that isn't the case is, notice over here, this is actual water. Where that shift or that transition happens is, notice, we're flying, we're flying, we're flying, we're not flying. So if you look at the map, dark blue is water. We cannot cannot cross, which also means the biters coincidentally cannot cross. But that does mean that there are these kind of shallow walkways that they can pass. But then when you notice the color variation, there's only a little bit of dark blue there. But otherwise, the rest of this is completely walkable. So you have to always kind of be cautious on Gleba. It's not the same beast as some of the other maps or some of the other planets. Now I'm definitely going to want some radar coverage over here. That is for sure. I want to be able to see what's going on, just so that if there is a threat, I know how to respond to it fast enough. And same thing up here. I want to do that to our Yamco fruit. Now, right now we don't have the infrastructure in place to fully get it sent down over to the base, but I think that is fine for now. Definitely one of the things I want to look at this episode is trying to get... let's see. I definitely am going to need a bit of both right now while we get some things up and running. Do we have... I do have this iron. What I need right now, though, is I need more roboports. So what do I need in order to get those automated? While I'm sitting here, let me go ahead and just make those. I have to do one at a time because I've unbound my normal crafting because of the 100% run. I was going to try to get another episode of that recorded prior to me going on my trip, but I just don't think it's going to be possible with all my time limitations. It does appear that we don't have... Yeah, I'm not really seeing what I'm wanting to see, unfortunately. There it is. I see it. I'm just blind as bat. Okay, we have steel. We need gears, but that's an easy fix. And then advanced circuits. Okay, what planet is making them? Does Flagora have them? Oh, yes. Yes, it does. Okay, let's head... Let's send the ship to Flagora. Let's have it pick up... What do you guys think? 100? I think let's just have it pick up all 100 that are there. So that way we can have them. And then that will allow us... Oh, excuse me. That will allow us to expand our range of influence south and north. And notice, just from the little bit of growing we've done, ton. Like, this is going to produce really, really quickly. But it also is going to produce quite a lot of spores. So that is something you need to be aware of when you're working on it. Down here, it's not so much the same story. Power's fine. Because there's not nearly as much growing room. Now, obviously, these guys can get harvested. There's nowhere for it to output, so that is one thing we have to take a look at. I do want to get some turrets up here, though, just so that way our Yamco fruit and things are defended. Yeah. And we're going to need some landfill, so let's go grab that. And then I think, you know what? I think we're going to call it here while I work on some of this landfill, and then I will see you guys in the next episode. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you guys did, you guys are to do smash the like button if you haven't done so already. And hope you guys learned something. With that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one, and peace out.